Okay. Brad, look, man, welcome to the CO2 rundown. I appreciate you taking the time, man, to join us or to
Thank you
join
for
me.
having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for those watching, tuning in, Brad Tavares, UFC middleweight, um, I guess contender. I mean, Brad, you've joined the ranks out of Hawaii
Yep.
with BJ Penn and Max Holloway being, I think, one of only those three to fight. Is it 20
20 times. Yep.
20 fights in the UFC.
Yeah, 20
Uh,
UFC fights.
and bro, you're only what, 32?
33.
33?
Going to be
33?
I'm going to be 34 at the end of this year.
Yeah, man. I think your first pro MMA fight, was it when you were 19?
Yeah,
UFC,
something like that. Something like that. Yeah, so I got into the Ultimate Fighter when I was 21, and then by the time we started filming was just after my 22nd birthday, because we were season 11, I want to say. Season 10, when they did the heavyweights, Scott Junk, Roy Nelson, Kimbo Slice, they were going to do that, a dual season, middleweights and heavyweights. So me, Scotty, Yancey was supposed to be on that season. We all flew out to Seattle, did the tryouts, and they called us all back. They're like, hey, we're going to use you guys, this and that. And then Scott went on to do the show, and they just called myself and Yancey back, and we're like, hey, we're going a different direction. And, we were kind of down about it, like, oh, we didn't get selected. And then come to find out, it's just because they did only heavyweights. And they needed to do that so that they could get Kimbo Slice was the name making the show. And they needed to do that to get him, make sure that he was in there, like they couldn't risk him fighting and losing and not getting in. So that was like the first season since they had started the fights to get into the house that they didn't have them fight to get into the house. So,
wow.
Yeah, so ended up being on the next season 11. And that was shortly after, literally like a week or two after my 22nd birthday, we went into the house. It was right after. Yeah, and then so I've been in the UFC ever since 2010. What is that, 11 years now? A little over 11 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Going on 12
grinding
years.
Bro, grinding and heck of a career so far, bro. Long way to go. But bro, I was looking at it, and yeah, you got some heavy hitters on your resume, bro. Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero, and the current champ, Israel Adesanya, which you took him the distance. After your last win, UFC 264 against Omari Akhmedov, split decision victory. Post fight, I saw that almost like that relief on your face, because being on the winning side, it's tough, and you have a lot more wins than you do losses, and your losses haven't been very very too one way decided. You know what I'm saying? You're a fighter. You always put up that scrap. I just feel like that this last win of yours, bro, is setting you up and is going to propel you for things to come. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like that's kind of the case?
Definitely. And then going back to that. So in that moment when they're reading the decision, the second they said that one judge scores it for, I don't know whoever they read, but I knew that it was going to be a split decision. I was like, all I could think was, I'm about to get ripped off. I in no way, shape, or form felt like I had lost that fight at all. I didn't even think it was close. And then even when in doing the interview, I was like, you know what? I can see them giving him the first round, the takedowns, whatever. Right after the fight, when I had the first chance I had to go back and watch the fight, I watched it, and I was like, I don't even think I lost the first round. I may be biased. It's me watching me, but I went back and I watched it back, and watching it back, I was like, I think I won the first round. I definitely won the second round, and I for sure won the third round. I almost finished them there at the end. Yeah. So that's what everybody was seeing. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm about to get ripped off, and then it was more so relief of, okay, they got it right. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the first time that's happened to me. I remember I fought in England. I fought Tom Watson, and I beat him dominantly. and they read the cards, and it was a split decision. And even Tom Watson, he came over to my locker room after the fight, and he's like, "Hey, bro, heck of a fight. There's no way that was a split decision." Real respectable guy, stand-up guy. He came over. He's like, "Hey, there's no way that was a split decision. You hands down won that fight." He's like, "I probably won't be able to walk for the next week. Like, you destroyed my legs." And so I was like, I really respected him for that. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to come over and tell me those things, but just a stand-up guy. And then later on, I think it was Herb Dean actually ended up having a conversation with my coach, Ray Sefo, and then informed him, like, "Oh yeah, what actually happened was one of the judges marked the wrong scores. He had us opposite," which, you know what I mean? Imagine that would have went the other way and how much of a nightmare that would have been. But it was one of those things. It's like, whatever, we got the win. You don't need to go appeal like, "Oh, I want it to be a unanimous," even though that's what it should have been. This person made a mistake. But yeah, so back to like the win, I definitely feel like, it's a step in the right direction. Right before I fought Izzy, I was riding a 4 or 5 fight win streak. Going into that fight, I ended up losing that fight. In that fight, I broke my arm, so I had some injury setbacks over the last two years or so. And then I was able to, after the Shabazian fight, tore my ACL. And coming back from that, this year I've been able to get things back, going in the right direction. But that's something that, like, I'm like, not to sound like cocky or overconfident, but that's something that I'm used to. I don't ever think that, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out there." I know that there's a chance that I can lose, but I like expect to win. Like, I try to visualize that and just be positive and put that positivity out into the universe for myself. So yeah, I don't know if that sounds like I'm making sense, but yeah, that's kind of how I
No,
think
bro,
about it.
I get it, bro. Hey, you preaching to the choir, right?
Yeah.
That's a fighter's mentality, a warrior's mentality, and that's something I carried heavy in my heart every practice, every
Yeah.
rep, every game. It's a constant belief in yourself. And bro, you're not sounding cocky. You got to be confident. And bro, in the fight game, it's up here. 99%
100%.
of the battle is up here. You know that. So you have to have that. It's that borderline cockiness, confidence. Bro, you gotta have that, but you're a humble guy. The way
Yeah.
you
No.
do, the way you go about your business is very humble. You know what I'm saying? You're not calling out people after your fight. You're not, you're very humble, very respectful, but you have that warrior on the inside that a lot of our Hawaii fighters have. And that's what I respect a lot about you guys so much. And our Hawaii fighters is just like, bro, we don't have to be showboaters. We let these things do the talking, and everyone knows. Everyone
Exactly.
knows that, bro,
Exactly.
I'm messed up after fighting these guys. So for you, I guess, what's next on the agenda? I know the overall goal is to be a champ.
Yep.
In your opinion, what do you have to do? How far away are you from getting another title shot? How many bouts? How many wins? Like, what's that future like?
I definitely, I feel like I'm right there. Like, I've always, over these last however many years, I've been in the top 10, top 15 of this division, fighting guys. And, like, I've gone on my streaks, 5, 6 fight win streak, whatever it may be. I set a couple setbacks, back on a 4 fight win streak, whatever, setbacks. And then, but that's the fight games, it's the highs and the lows. So I definitely, I'm on a 2 fight win streak now. If I can string a couple more, 2, 3, maybe, more wins together over ranked opponents. And it just depends, like, who I get next, and then get a win over that. And who's after that, that might put me right there, so it's very, in the very foreseeable future for me. So again, just back to what I do, stay in the gym, stay grinding, keep learning, keep elevating my game. I think that's a big thing, is guys a lot of times get too comfortable in what they're doing, and then they become stagnant. I love going back and seeing, what can I do better? What can I fix? What can I change, to elevate my game? Because the second that you feel like this is it for you, then that's it for you. You're not going to go past that. you're gonna hit a plateau, and that's it. So as long as like you can keep knowing that you can elevate your game, you can get better, because the game is always changing. Look at MMA 5 years ago, what was happening 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's always evolving. It's always evolving. So you got to stay ahead of the curve in that way. You got to keep evolving with the game so that you don't get left behind.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at every sport evolves over time. Let's just look at NBA. Everyone's a shooter now. It's a shooter's game. You know what I mean? It's not a big man post up. Like that was a game of the past. Now you got to shoot the ball, and it's a shooter's game. And in MMA, you see the tides change. Like there's a lot of skill in the MMA game. There's a lot of guys that can do, and girls that can do a lot of different things. People are getting more athletic. And you come from 100%. Athletic background, right? Former football player, former athlete. And to me, that makes the best fighters.
100%.
Someone that has the athletic background. On that note, Brad, I mean, are you a football fan? Like, do you have an NFL team?
Raiders, baby.
Nah, is that because they moved to Vegas, or you've always been a Raiders fan?
Always
Oakland,
been.
Okay.
Always been, bro. Lifelong, bro. For as long as I can remember cheering for a football team, I've always been a Raider fan. And it just so happened the stars aligned and they ended up coming to Las Vegas, which I couldn't be happier about. I've been a lifelong Raiders fan, and now I feel like I can be like a real fan. Like I'm super stoked. What is today? It's almost August. What day? 2 more days is August. Our first preseason game is in like 2 or 3 weeks already, August 16th, and that's here against the Seahawks. So that'll be so fun. Like that was, I think, one of the biggest things that was a bummer for me last year was the fact that it was supposed to be our inaugural season in our new stadium, and then we couldn't have fans, which was a bummer. But we'll be at every game this year.
Yeah, man, that's so sick. I was in Vegas and I got a chance to check out that stadium, bro, from the outside, and it is ridiculous.
Bro,
that
you gotta go
far.
You gotta go inside.
You've been inside?
Yes. So they had a what was it? A stadium tour. We did that, which was dope. They took us all around the stadium, showed us the suites, showed us the different like kind of like clubs they have in there. Took us to the Raiderettes locker room, to the actual Raiders game locker room, took us on the field. I mean, the tour was amazing. And then they did so I'm a season ticket holder. They did a season
wow.
Yeah, they did a seat tour to where you get invited on a day, you RSVP, and then you get to go and just chill and hang out in your seats. So it was me, my girl, and my daughter. We went, and my daughter was all into it. She was like standing up by the field, and she's like, "When the Raiders coming?" Like she didn't understand, she thought we were there for a game. So yeah, it's gonna be a family affair for sure. And bro, like I said, you gotta go one of these days, get in that stadium. That thing is unreal. It looks like they literally built it like a Vegas hotel in there. Like it's the nicest stadium I've been in. And in fact, after my fight, and I had been waiting on this since February, I think. Yeah, February of last year, I bought Garth Brooks tickets, and it kept getting postponed because of COVID. And just so happens it was on the same day as my fight. And then fast forward, I found out I was fighting fairly early. I was stoked. I was like, okay, in and out. I'll fight. I'll be able to go to a concert. And I wanted to go to the concert. Fully intended to go. I got out of there early. I was home by like 6 p.m., I think, back to my house after my fight in my house. But I banged up my foot in the fight. And I was like, you know what? I better just chill. So I had my cousins in town who came to watch the fight, or just to spend time, and they watched the fight at my house. I was like, hey, you guys want to go to Garth Brooks? And they're huge country fans. They're like, really? I was like, yeah, go. So they went, and they said it was crazy. I think it was like almost 70,000 people in there, sold out, crazy event. Yeah.
Wow, that's sick, man. I mean, yeah, one day I'll definitely be coming through. I gotta experience that. You brought up your family, your daughter, Zaya Lee,
Yeah.
Mahelani Tavares. That's beautiful, man. I know that's an
Thank you.
extra
Thank you.
added motivation for you. Um, I got a couple more things. I want to talk about that system you got behind you. So you're a gamer, like, bro. What is that? Is that you're a computer gamer or is that an
It,
Xbox? What you playing?
so this right there, the one right behind me, is the new Xbox, the Xbox Series X. And that one is what I mostly play on. That's my PC. But yeah, I've been gaming all my life. Literally from I remember having, I don't know if it was regular Nintendo or Sega Genesis, whichever one was first, but I remember playing on both of them, onto Super Nintendo, onto N64, and then ended up making the switch to PlayStation 2, then made the switch to Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and now it's Xbox Series X. All my life.
So you're never without a gaming system. Never.
No,
since day one.
No, since day one, and that so now with this whole COVID deal, they quarantine us, right? So when I went to Abu Dhabi, I actually took my Xbox, the whole thing, and then when I came back, I don't know why something popped in my head. I was like, oh, what about a gaming laptop? So I ended up buying a gaming laptop right there. Can't really see it. It's right there. And I take that now when I go to quarantine. It's just easier, just everything right there on the laptop. And then I just hook up. I'm a PC controller player, so I play on PC but with controller. But
yeah, well, what game though? What's the game?
The only game I've been playing right now is Warzone. So Call of Duty, their battle royale. That's literally the only thing that I've been playing. And
I used to be on, bro. Like I was big into it, and like it man, it pulls you in. It does. The point where I was like, first thing I was doing in the morning, kind of all day, take breaks, eat, come back, like at night, go sleep. Wait, like it became an addiction.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's a challenge. It's fun, and with the online gaming, playing with other people, playing with friends, and it's that challenge, right? You're competing out there.
Well, yeah, for sure, 100%. And now gaming is so huge right now. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know if you ever did witness or not witness, but even just see, like, they have these gaming, like, for instance, like Fortnite, they had, I don't know what they call it, the championships or whatever. They literally sold out a stadium, like a soccer football stadium, a big stadium, an actual stadium, not an arena, a stadium. They sold out a stadium of people just watching, like, these young kids, and the kid, this was, I don't know, a year or two ago, the kid that won it was only like 15 or 16 years old, wins like a couple $1 million playing a video game.
What?
Yes.
And hey, parents listening, you can't deprive your kids too much of the video games. Hey, I know it can be taken away, but they got opportunities these days to make some serious money.
100%. Like, there's no more are the days of, video games ain't gonna do anything for you. No, it's, if you take it the right way, just like with anything, sports or academics. I mean, like, if that's what you wanted to do and you're good at it and passionate about it, like, there's serious money to be made. And like a lot of these guys out there, it's like, it's just like with social media. It's the streamers. Like, people are streaming, and that's all they do, and they make money. Like, people ask me all the time, like, oh, why don't you stream this and that? I'm like, I feel like at that point it'll turn into a job, which I might eventually go down that path one day, but like, I don't have the time and energy to focus that much into something that's outside of fighting right now.
Right.
Like,
it's a pastime. It's something to kind of like just what you're doing when you're waiting, or just to get your mind off of the fight game for a little while, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, don't get me wrong. So like last year, when COVID came around, it swept through our gym, and a bunch of us all got COVID in like October of last year. And so me and my friends, they shut down the gym for a couple of weeks. We all had to quarantine. We had to quarantine together. So we literally just played Call of Duty all day, like 8 to 12 hours straight, just all day. Like, nothing else you can do. You're stuck in a room. You cannot leave. You can't do anything with your family. You know what I mean? So everything is done out of the room. That's what we did. Just game all day, hours on end, like crazy.
Wow, bro. That's unreal. That's good times, man. It reminds you of being on the road in college, in the locker room, while playing football. Like that's what you did in the pastime. That was the thing you did together to get your mind off of the game. But you brought up something, Brad. Just maybe my last little question before we close
Yeah,
here.
no worries, no
I
worries.
saw, bro, like you worked as a Hawaiian Airlines ramp agent.
Ramp agent and a
I
customer service agent.
Okay. I want to know, what did you learn from that experience?
Sure, I learned that people don't give a crap about your bags, so wrap up everything good. Check your bags. Like, seen some very honest people and I've seen some very shady people. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but no, I had fun. I enjoyed that job. You know, it was very, do your job, and as long as your job is done, you ain't gotta really worry about it. It wasn't one of those jobs where somebody's like always on your ass or you always got to be accountable in this way. It's like, okay, they give you a job, which those jobs are flights, right? Depending where you are. Okay, this, and this is your flights. They come in at this time. And granted, it's the airlines, so things can get messed up, delays and whatever, so forth. So that'll mess up your schedule a little bit. But on days where they run smoothly, you just show up, do your job, boom, move on to the next plane. In between, you can chill or go help another crew or whatever it is. But yeah, it was a cruise job, and then obviously you get to fly. Hawaiian Airlines, honestly, was actually a big part kind of in my journey, bringing me to Las Vegas. When I was training back on Oahu with Brandon Wolf, he was like our father figure in fighting, big brother, our coach, and mentor. And he came up with this plan for the younger generation, the younger guys who had just kind of started. He was like, hey, look, let's win every fight we can here. So X1s and Destinies and Icons, let's win everything we can, win every local belt that we can. And then in 2 years' time, like, we'll move to Las Vegas, we'll train at Extreme Couture. And just how specific this plan was. And that at that time when he made that plan, it was because Extreme Couture and Las Vegas were still like the meccas, like one of the meccas out there. There weren't, nowadays you can go almost anywhere and find a decent MMA gym, decent MMA program. And you can even find, like, even in small gyms, hey, there's a UFC fighter that trains out of there. But back in this time, 07, 08, when he came up with this plan, there wasn't, it was like ATT, Jackson's, Extreme Couture, like those were the big gyms in the States. Vegas was like the mecca. This is before all the other smaller gyms opened up out here as well. And so almost like 2 years to the date when he came up with that plan, a job opportunity opened up to be customer service here in Vegas with Hawaiian Airlines. And that's kind of always like how I've made my moves, is like, I always, like, it takes risk and sacrifice, but I also want to, like, make sure that I'm not like out on the streets. So I was like, you know what, if I can move up there with a job, that takes a lot of the pressure off. I don't have to look for a job. I'll have money coming in immediately, and then I can figure it out from there. So I put in for the job. Maybe like a week later, they awarded it to me. And I asked them, okay, when do I have to move? They're like, oh, you got to be there by the next pay period, which is in 2 weeks. I was like, damn. So I had to pack up my whole apartment. I was living in Kailua at the time. I had to pack up my whole apartment, get everything in order, pack up all my stuff to move to Las Vegas. You know what I mean? And it's not like easy, like, oh, I'm going to move a house. I'm moving from Kailua to, I don't know, West Side or something. I had to move states, and like, I'd never really done anything like this. Even when I moved from Big Island to Oahu, I did that over time. Like, I was working for Island Air at the time, and I kind of moved, like, took a few things, and every like week on my days off, I would fly back and bring more stuff up. And I kind of did it gradually. It wasn't a one-time thing. This was a one-time thing. It was like, you got to grab all your stuff and go. So it was a lot, but you know what I mean? Like I said, Hawaiian Airlines played a big part in that journey. And I was up here as a customer service agent for, I don't know, a few months before I got the call for the Ultimate Fighter again. And then, yeah, once I got out of the Ultimate Fighter, I was like, you know what? I just want to focus on fighting full time. So I quit Hawaiian Airlines, and I just been fighting ever since.
Wow. What a journey, bro.
Yeah.
What a journey. That's amazing. I mean, so again, a lot of the, you know, you're one of many, you know, inspirations for a lot of these young up and coming fighters, Brad. So that story of taking risk, of going out of your comfort zone, sticking to it, grinding. If you have one message for these young up and coming fighters, athletes, people in general, what would that message be?
You know what? A message that I always love to spread for anybody, and this is for anything, you know what I mean? Like anything that you want in life, whether it's sports or finances, a job, a relationship, everything comes with hard work and sacrifice. If you put those two things in, the hard work and you make the right sacrifices, um, you can almost accomplish anything, you know, like there's nothing that in my life, everything that I've done is taken that, you know, you have to make sacrifices and you got to be ready. You got to be ready and willing to put in that work. And if you can do those things, I feel like anybody can succeed, you know, and obviously some people's path and journey may be harder, some people's easier, just kind of the way the world works. But either way, easy path, hard path, sacrifices and hard work. And I ultimately believe that you'll get to your goals, you'll accomplish your goals, you know. So like look at guys like Dan Ige. You know, he kind of followed the path that I had made, like let's come to Vegas, but he made a much bigger jump than me. He came up here with minimal money saved up. He had a wife, you know, that he had left back in Hawaii, like, and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go up there, I'm gonna figure it out, and then we'll bring you up. And he did exactly that. And look at him now, you know, top 10 in the UFC, headlining shows, like, you know. So I'm not the only one to do it. So it just shows, especially like coming from Hawaii. I feel like it is harder, especially in anything coming from Hawaii. You know, we're further from everything. It takes serious money for us to have the opportunities. You know, like even look at any like little league sports or Pop Warner. What does it take for a team? Yeah. Exactly. And that's thousands of dollars per kid. So yeah, definitely coming from Hawaii, it is harder for us. So for all of you, you know, it doesn't even matter, young, old, whatever. If you can make the sacrifices that need to be made and you can put the hard work behind it, I feel like you can accomplish anything, honestly.
Wow. That's big, brother. That's big. I appreciate that message. And with that, bro, I appreciate you taking the time to come on and you know, do the CO2 rundown with me. And
automatic,
good luck, man,
bro. Automatic.
Get back to some gaming. Get back to the family, bro. Enjoy that.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you having me on. You know, it's been a pleasure. So whenever you like talk story, hey, I'm always here for it.
Oh, 100%, bro. We're gonna be wrapping up for sure. You know, maybe for your next fight, we'll get a pre-fight.
Yeah, 100%.
Sick.
100%. Right on, Chad. You have a good one, bro.
Right on, Brad. Mahalo. Aloha.